Hello everybody, this is Aiden Morris and Marcus Rogers here at Morris Rogers TV, coming to you live from the DRSCCA MX-5 Summer Cup at Lime Rock Park this week. We're going to kick things off with qualifying right away as we see Trenton McMillan coming out of the pit lane first. Ryder Poe with the fastest lap last time by of a 5.32. That's a pretty good lap time. Good lap times are within the low 5-second ranges. See if he can hold on to that pole position. Carwile snags that pole position away with an 04.94 that time by. We'll see if anybody can contest with that. This is a relatively long qualifying session though. We've still got 16 minutes. Anything can happen.
Ooh, that's a bit of a rough ride for the pole sitter for now.
Yes, it certainly is. It looks like Ryan got a little bit loose off that last corner and just took a little bit too much grass there. That's going to make his tires a little bit dirty for these next couple laps. We'll see if anybody can make anything happen during that time. Ryder Poe with a new fastest lap that time. Is only 0.25 off of the pole position now. Lincoln Olson has just taken the pole position away with a 4.65 second lap. Carlisle is 0.28 behind, and Poe is 0.54 behind. Olson is still in possession of the pole right now. Carlisle is still behind, and Poe is sitting in third place. Got 12 minutes to go.
Minutes still plenty enough time for any of the positions to jostle some more on the time charts, as the current pole sitter getting a little bit of traffic there may or may not compromise his current lap.
Yes, it looks like that traffic moved out of the way pretty nicely for him though. And Poe has just set another fastest lap. He is now only 0.48 off of the pole. I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on Poe tonight. He's pretty quick. Olson is also going to be a very fast car for tonight, as he just set the fastest lap again with a 4.55 second time. Positions 4, 5, and 6 right now are all tied with the exact same lap time, 0.96 behind the pole. That's pretty crazy for a track that has a minute and 5 second lap times. Got a three-way tie for fourth place.
And most likely with times that close, it's an early showing of how close the racing is going to be later on.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely will see some mid-pack battles there. But I think ultimately, with Olsen's lap time right now, if he can run away with it, I think he'll be checked out for the rest of the race. Leonard goes a little bit deep there, has to make a little U-turn. He is one of the drivers tied for fourth place right now. We only have 3 drivers actually actively qualifying right now. It looks like all others are going to be happy with their times. Make that 4 drivers. McMillan just came back out on track. Poe gets a little bit of airtime over that sausage curb. That might have damaged his car a little bit there. Got to be careful taking those curbs. Gaynor goes a little bit wide there, allowing Poe to take his position back. Honestly, I think this battling here is going to be hurting both of their times. Poe backs off a little bit. It looks like Poe is going to be done with his qualifying run. Let's see if we can pull Ryder Poe up here real quick for short pre-race interview. Hey Ryder, you're up here in the commentator booth. You just set a pretty good lap time for P3 right now as it stands. Do you have anything you'd like to share with us before the race begins, strategy-wise?
There's not a lot I can say tonight. Pretty fast car. Strat is to stay alive and hopefully get a good result. Lincoln and Ryan are really fast drivers, so it's going to be hard to keep up with them. But thanks to Racing Mason at Throttle Nation for making a good delivery tonight. And thank you to Eat Sleep Sim Repeat for making this possible.
All right, thank you, Ryder. Best of luck out there today.
Thank you.
All right, that was Ryder Poe there, the little pre-race interview. Got 3 minutes left of qualifying right now. Looks like most drivers are going to be where they stand right now.
Still got a few drivers out on track trying to make something happen in these final minutes.
Yeah, we haven't seen much of Ocon. Looks like he's just decided to jump out here and try and improve his time a little bit before it's too late. Goes a little bit wide there. That's not going to be the lap. Sean Gaynor just moves himself up from P6 to up to P4. He was one of the cars tied in that three-way battle there. So definitely a nice improvement there for him. He's going to be starting 2 more positions higher.
Two more positions he hopefully won't have to worry about overtaking during the race, and he can stay ahead of him if he can get a clean lap 1.
Yeah, definitely. This first lap is going to be very important. We might see some big dive bombs into turn 1. Could ruin a couple drivers' races. Let's hope not, though. We want to see as many people finish dramatically as possible.
Yes, that indeed we do.
Looks like qualifying is just about over here as all the drivers are starting to make their way over to pit lane to start gridding. We've got 9 cars on the grid tonight. Should be a pretty fun race, 30 minutes long. Endurance and survival might play a factor here.
Survival will certainly be a factor, as you do not want to get separated from the pack and separated from the slipstream early on.
Yeah, and with these big elevation changes, you also won't want to be side by side through much of the chicanes in the back. Alright, I think we should be seeing some drivers start to grid up here any minute now. Alright, let's start going over our starting order here. In first place, we have Lincoln Olson, number 16. In second place, we have the number 71, Ryan Carwile. In third place, we have the number 36, Ryder Poe. Starting in fourth place, we have number 312, Sean Gaynor. In fifth place, we have the number 3, Taylor O'Toole. Starting in P6, we have the number 22, Drew Lenhart. Starting in P7, we have the number 6 car of Trenton McMillan. Starting in P8, we have the number 1, Dave Ocon. Starting in P9, we have the number 2 car of John Ocon. Looks like most drivers are starting to grid here, as we should be going green in 1 lap of pacing. This is a pretty tight track. It's kind of like the mini Nürburgring. There's lots of elevation changes, and it's a pretty tight track in general. Not much overtaking. There's very strategic parts of the track that you can overtake in, and there's some parts where you really don't want to try.
Hopefully in today's race we see most of the clean and strategic overtakes and not the risky ones.
Yeah, we definitely might be seeing some dive bombs though. There are 2 corners that I know of that can definitely be dive bombed into the chicane on the back stretch and into turn 1 on the front stretch. We'll hope to not see too much of that, as we will be going green this next time by. Here we come through the final corners here.
Down the hill,
is ready to go green. The pace car is off, and it is Lincoln Olson and Ryan Carwile taking the green flag.
Green, green, green.
And we are racing at Lime Rock Park. Ryder Poe gets a good run down there. He's not going to try and dive bomb Lincoln, and Olson will be leading into turn 1. Carwile defending for second. Poe might get him here. Looks like Poe clears Carwile. Carwile might be defending for fourth now. Carwile under attack from Gaynor. The field is starting to space out a little bit here as we go into the chicanes on the back stretch. saw Drew Linhart go a little bit wide there, get a little bit loose. That might cost him some time. McMillan looks to his inside. Is he going to get a run on him? No, he does not. Linhart is able to defend his position and hold on to P6. Lincoln
Going
Olson.
on to lap 2 now. Everyone so far still intact.
Lincoln Olson leads them here. Ryder Poe up in second place. Ryan Carwile lost a position on the start there on the outside. He has slotted back into line in P3 though, and Ganor is behind him. Poe is putting a little bit of a gap between him and Carwile. Olson has pulled far ahead of the field though, with a 1.5 second gap coming into lap 3. Olson gets a little bit loose there. Poe is gaining on him now. Olson made a pretty big mistake through there, and Poe is now less than a second back.
Of course, Poe is loving to see that from first place ahead of him. And if it continues, he's definitely going to be looking to strike a move.
Yeah, definitely. Olson just wants to keep it clean at this point, as we saw him go a little bit wide there, take a little bit of dirt, but it looks like overall he has managed to stay ahead of Poe for this lap. Carwile's last lap was a little bit quicker than Poe's though, so we may be seeing that gap start to close in the long run as well. Olson a little bit wide, takes up some more grass there. He might be getting pressured into some mistakes here from Poe. The gap between him and second and third place is closing through that first sector. He is definitely slower through there than Poe and Carwile. Carwile has closed the gap to Poe a lot though, especially through this chicane. You can see Carwile is less than a second off Poe's rear bumper. Riding on board with Ryder Poe. You see Carwile in his rear view here. Just about a second back. Can Olson keep Sector 1 clean this time and keep the gap to Poe? So far, so good. As we already see some lap traffic up ahead of Olson. Looks like that is the number 10 car, I believe, of Davide Silva. Not sure if I said that right. Yeah, we'll just go with that though. The Carwile has definitely closed that gap to Poe down to about half a second here.
And as they come up to this lapped traffic, if Poe gets it wrong, the gap could close even more.
Yeah, for sure. We can see that Lincoln might be catching them, the lap traffic, in Sector 1, which is not his strong suit. And that could slow him down quite a bit. If he can work by, oh, the lap traffic has pulled over. That's pretty kind of him. That will allow the battle for the lead up here to continue uninterrupted.
Yes, all the leaders are going to be very thankful for that.
Carlisle has made a pretty significant gap to Ganor now, with about 2 seconds between the two for third place. Carlisle also closing the gap to Poe. Still at about half a second here. Looks like Poe is just trying to keep it nice and clean through here, not pushing too hard here, because he knows that we still have 23 minutes to go. Don't want to try and push too hard and then end your race early. I'd say Poe would be happy with the podium here either way.
And right now, that podium spot is looking uncontested from 4th position. As long as he can keep it clean with the 2 drivers in front and behind him, then podium is looking pretty secured so far.
Yes, indeed, so far. We still have over 20 minutes of racing left to go. Poe has kept pretty good gaps to Olsen in front. He has not let him move over 2 seconds away from him, and he has kept Carlisle at bay, although Carlisle now will be putting some pressure on Poe here for the 2nd position. He's closed the gap up to under half a second now through these slower sectors, and we will see if Poe can hang on throughout these next couple of laps. Carlisle's last lap was about 0.2 quicker than Poe's. So Poe might just be saving, but Carlisle might be also gaining on him a little bit. Poe goes a little bit wide. That might open the door up for Carlisle to get a run on him down this back stretch. They are very close. Carlisle may be within striking distance. Carlisle stays behind Poe, gets a little bit of curbing there. That might damage his car if we see that too much more. Those curbs can definitely pay a toll on the suspension. Poe moves over to block the outside line so that Carlisle does not get a run. And Poe seems to have held Carlisle off for now. We will see how Carlisle does here. He might get a run on him. If he gets a run on Poe, Poe's defense has been pretty good, but if he gets a run on him down this front stretch, it might be over for Poe, and Poe might just have to take that and then go pass him up again later.
Definitely better to save yourself and fight another day than to duke it out and lose time on the leader and also come into the clutches of the 4th place and other cars behind.
Yeah, as Olsen has just broken the 2-second mark to Poe behind. Olsen is pretty checked out at this point in the race. Nobody has been able to keep up with his lap times. So if Olsen is able to keep this up and keep it clean, he might have this win secured already. Carlisle ever closer to Poe here. He does seem to be taking an advantage on the braking zones, although Poe might also just be saving his stuff and not trying to push anything. As we ride on board with Carlisle here, we'll see him through this first sector. He does seem to get a little bit of a run on Poe out of the corners onto the straights. See if he can make anything of it. But for now, he is still staying behind Poe.
He might also be saving his tire longevity for later in the race, just sticking close enough in striking distance, so then when the timer runs a little bit longer, then go for the move.
Yeah, as we saw him peek to the outside there, but he didn't try to do anything. It looks like he is pretty content with staying behind Poe and making as much of a gap to P4 of Ganor as possible. That gap is up to about 5 seconds. which is a pretty significant amount. Yeah, Carlisle has been putting about 3 to 4 tenths of a second on Ganor every single lap. Poe has been running pretty consistent lap times up ahead of Carlisle. We'll see if that consistency can pay off in the long run and if he will have anything left at the end to defend. Olsen about 3 seconds out of the field. Still the fastest car here. Olsen is your spring MX-5 series champion as well, though, so don't expect anything less of him. Carlisle seems to be moving off of Poe's racing line a little bit to look for other opportunities here. Marcus?
I was going to say, so long as Olsen keeps up his current pace, it's going to be uncontested, because sooner or later, the battle between positions 2 and 3 is going to get a little bit more spicy here. Of course, I do think that they're waiting until later in the race to really kick things off, because now it's still kind of early, and if Carlisle were to pass Poe would still have plenty of time to pass him back. But if he holds off for now and strikes late on, then he might be able to hold him off for a shorter amount of time for Poe to retaliate.
Yeah, that definitely might be true. Olsen did lose about half a second through Sector 1 there. I don't know, he might have gone a little bit wide. I did see a little slide from him there. Poe, it looks like, has gone a little bit wide there. That might not be ideal for him. Carlisle may get a run on him down this front straight. Carlisle seems to be staying behind. Poe was able to defend pretty well from that, even with that slight error there. And Olsen may be coming up on some more lap traffic. Yes, he indeed is. That is the number 2 car of John Ocon. Poe and Carlisle are still the closest cars for battle here. Ganor is almost 8 seconds behind them, and behind him McMillan about 5 seconds behind Ganor.
The field definitely getting very spread out here, all except for Poe and Carlisle. Still nose to tail these two.
Poe and Carlisle have been able to keep up pretty well with Olsen. They might be saving their battling just to see if they can have a chance at him at the end. But at this rate, I think Olsen is pretty much checked out. Lap traffic moving over here. It might not be the best spot to do it, as we see Carlisle forced a little bit wide. That'll allow Poe to get a better run through these first corners. Carlisle able to keep up pretty nicely. Carlisle closing that gap under braking for sure. Gets a pretty good run on Poe here, I'd say. He might not do anything with it though, as we are halfway through the race now, 15 minutes to go. They might start duking it out sooner than later. Carlisle is going to have to start putting more pressure on Poe if he's going to want to get by.
Yeah, perhaps they have come to the realization, if not now, then very soon, that the leader is out of reach for the time being, unless he makes a mistake. And there we have a look to the outside, back to the inside. Carlisle looking to get past Poe there. You were right about them duking it out now that we've reached the halfway mark. The moves are certainly going to be looking more aggressive from here.
Yeah, Poe had to take a bit of a defensive line through turn 1 there to not allow Carlisle past. That cost both of them a significant amount of time. But ultimately, they are pretty checked out from 4th place. They are by themselves for this battle. Carwile gets no run there. Not going to try anything under braking, just going to keep it nice and smooth. He's going to try and get a run on Poe here through this first straight. Poe goes a little bit wide. Carwile does not appear to have a run. Poe might have to go defensive here. We'll see what he chooses. Carwile is a little ways back. He might... No, he does not try and outbrake him here. He does look to the inside. But Poe is able to cover him up pretty nicely. Carwile is taking a more offensive line here. Poe is still running his usual line so far this lap, but Carwile is definitely looking to try and get alongside Poe. Poe, extending that gap slightly through the chicane, is able to eliminate any run that Carwile would have had. Carwile may have a run here. It looks like Poe's able to block it for now. We'll see what this toe can do for Carwile. Poe is going defensive. Carwile looks to the outside. Poe defending the inside. Who's going to brake first? Carwile ahead of Poe. Carwile has to brake first. They're still side by side through turn 1. Poe is going to clear Carwile. Carwile may get alongside him here. Poe stays defensive. Poe keeps the position, and Ryan Carwile has to duck in behind him here. Definitely a look from him, though, and he has made his intentions clear of passing Ryder Poe.
Yes, very clear now. The war between these two is officially on, if it wasn't already.
Carwile does not get a run here. Poe is going to defend. Ryan Carwile will look to get a run on the front straight. He's going to close up on Poe's bumper, but he's not going to have anything for him. Poe is going to go defensive again, duck to the inside. Carwile is going to stick with him. Carwile jumps to the outside. Poe back on the inside. Carwile on the outside. Poe goes a little bit more wide that time, pushing them both a little bit off the racing line. They're still side by side. Carwile will have the preferred lane here. Poe is going to clear him. Carwile ducks in behind. That was a lot closer that time. Carwile is definitely outpacing Poe here.
Yes, Poe just barely being able to hold off Carwile for the time being. Still over 10 minutes to go left in this race.
Yeah, we do have a bit left in this race. Anything could happen. At this point, if Carwile does get past Poe, Poe still has a chance to fight back.
I'm not sure he's going to want to take that chance, seeing how Carwile behind him is able to outpace him, especially on the back half of the circuit. He's likely thinking he has to stay ahead if he wants a chance at keeping this second place to the end.
Yeah, I think that Ryder Poe knows that if Carwile gets past him, it's pretty much game over if Poe cannot get back up alongside him very quickly. Olsen has gained a 6-second gap to P2 now. He's pretty much checked out, and I would say unless something crazy happens, I think Lincoln Olsen is going to be your winner for this race. Carwile has fallen back a little bit off of Poe. Not sure if he went wide or anything through turn 1, but it is very possible that Ryan Carwile has made a mistake. Poe does now have a little bit of breathing room. Not as much pressure on him now as before, but Carwile is able to close the gap up a lot under braking. Carwile goes a bit wide, though, and he's going to kill any momentum he had on Poe. Poe is going to get the run on him onto the front stretch, and he's not going to have to go defensive at all, as that gap is now almost a second between the two.
This is exactly what Poe wants to see, that gap increasing and him getting a bit more leverage over P3.
Yeah, Poe wants to see as much of a gap between him and Carwile as possible. Carwile wants to see the gap close as much as possible so he can put pressure on Poe and have Poe make a mistake. But as we saw, one mistake from Carwile there could cost him a lot of time. That allowed Poe to get... Oh, Carwile goes pretty deep on braking. A lot slower through the chicanes though there for him. And that allows Poe to still keep his gap. Carwile does seem to be pushing a lot harder now. He wants to get up to Poe and pass him as soon as possible, but Poe is still very quick. And Poe also wants to keep second place. Poe goes nice and clean through the first sector. At this point, I think Rider Poe's mindset is to just keep it clean and stay ahead of Carwile. If Carwile gets too much closer to him, Ryan might make a pretty sketchy move, we'll say. He could make a dive bomb on Poe into turn 1 or the chicane on the back stretch.
I definitely say so if he gets close once more, as we saw it multiple times when Carwile was on the attack. Now that gap has opened up a little bit now between Poe and Carwile, so Poe, as you said, is going to be head down, focused on making no mistakes, not allowing Carwile to get back up close to him, because if he does, Carwile is going to be on the attack with 6 minutes and 45 seconds just about to go.
Yeah, Poe has definitely increased that gap, which is not what Carwile wants to see, but it is very good for Rider Poe for maintaining second position. Ryan Carwile is going to be pushing as hard as he can for these next couple of laps because he knows that we've got about 5 or 6 laps to go in this race, and he knows that he has to make up any time possible to be able to even have a chance at passing Rider Poe here. If Poe is able to keep hitting his marks, I think he is able to outpace Ryan Carwile all the way up to the checkered flag at this point.
This may have been a strategy by Poe, saving his tires early on, and now in the final minutes of the race, going 100%, pushing on those tires and being able to extend the life a lot more than maybe what Carwile has left.
Yeah, and we will also keep an eye on this battle for P4 back here, as Trenton McMillan has closed the gap up to Sean Gaynor quite a bit here. He was about 2 seconds back a couple laps ago, and now he's less than half a second off Gaynor's bumper. We'll keep an eye on that battle for sure. Let's go back up to Poe versus Carwile. Poe is still maintaining that gap to Carwile here. Not much of a change. Carwile may be closing it ever so slightly, but at this pace, Poe is going to be able to hold him off. McMillan is really close to that back bumper of Gaynor, though.
The battle between these two looking like the battle we were just watching between Poe and Carwile on the grass.
McMillan loses momentum there on the grass, but he's still going to have the inside. Gaynor is going to be on the outside. McMillan is going to be on the inside here. If they can keep side by side, Gaynor is going to have the advantage to these next corners. Gaynor on the inside. But now McMillan's going to have the advantage. McMillan up the inside. He's not able to clear him, though, as there is contact made. And who is going to break first into the chicane? McMillan has the advantage. McMillan outbreaks Gaynor for now. Gaynor might get a run, but it looks like this is Trenton McMillan's position to lose. Gaynor is still all over Trenton's back bumper, though. We might see a move here. McMillan goes to defend the inside. Gaynor up the outside. McMillan will have the preferred line here. Slight contact. Oh, and they're spinning.
Oh.
Gaynor is spun into turn 1. McMillan takes P4. And Gaynor is all the way back to P5, actually. He has not lost any more position than that. But he is not going to be very happy about that after the race. Some pretty hard battling from McMillan. I don't know. Marcus, do you think that was fair or foul?
Some could argue it's just an incident. But 2 into 1 there doesn't always work, especially when it looked like they were fighting for the same piece of road. Gaynor almost looked like, oh, is that a flat?
He has lost his front right suspension, it looks like. Possibly over those sausage curbs, but yeah, that car is pretty much fried. He's going to have to give that position back to Gaynor. Now, I don't know if that was karma, but yeah, McMillan might have just got a taste of his own medicine for that one.
Oh, that is absolutely tragic for him, but for Gaynor, he's going to be happy about that, getting back the position that he may have felt was wrongly taken from him.
Yes, definitely, as McMillan is in the pits and most likely out of this race. That's going to be a pretty disappointing end to his day. But as I said in the pre-race, those sausage curbs, you got to look out for them. If you hit them one too many times, they're going to take your car away from you.
Oh yeah, they're brutal.
Ryder Poe has maintained the gap to Ryan Carwile. I believe we are coming to 2 laps to go this time by. Lap traffic here. He's going to pull over to the side and let Ryder Poe through. Looks like he is also going to let Ryan Carwile by, as they are still going to be battling for second place. Carwile is going to try and get anything he can here to get even close to Poe's bumper. And I would be on the lookout for some dirty-ish racing in these final couple of laps. If Carwile can get up there, I do not doubt we may see some bumper usage.
Yeah, he might put a fender on him. Just a little bit.
This is something Poe wants to avoid at all costs. He's going to try and get as far away from Carwile as possible so that he does not get bumped. But it looks like Lincoln Olsen may have given up a little bit of time to the two. I think he's pretty much checked out, and he kind of knows that. So he's just going to be holding it nice and steady here as we get the white flag this time by. Ryan Carwile is going to try and get anything he can on Ryder Poe. Ryder Poe able to keep ahead nice and clean through there. First sector done for Poe. Now he's going to hold off Carwile into the braking zone. Carwile going to try and close up the gap as much as possible. He will get a run on Poe, though, through here. Ryder Poe may have made a slight mistake through there. Carwile may try and dive bomb here. Oh, he does.
Oh, he does.
Carwile up the inside. Poe takes the position back. They're still side by side. Carwile's going to have the inside. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Poe clears Carwile. Poe's going to have the run, and Poe is going to take second place away from Ryan Carwile, and there's still contact. Carwile passes Poe on the final corner.
Was that a slowdown that Poe had?
I don't know. It's possible Poe might have gotten a slight slowdown for cutting the track. We'll have to go back and see that again, but Poe may have gotten an off-track penalty. As our last couple of drivers are coming across the line here, we are going to go back and review that. Your final running order is in first place, Lincoln Olson. Second place, Ryan Carwile. Third place, Ryder Poe. Fourth place, Sean Gaynor. Fifth place, Tyler O'Toole. Sixth place, Dave Ocon. Seventh place, Trenton McMillan. Eighth place, John Ocon. Ninth place, Drew Leonard. And 10th place, Dividi Silva. Our pro winner is Lincoln Olson. And our AM winner is Tyler O'Toole. We'll see if we can get a couple of them up here for some post-race interviews. But first, actually, let's go back and check what happened to Ryder Poe on the last corner there to cost him a position. Alright, I believe this is it up here. No, I think we went a little bit too far back. Okay. Here we go. Let's see what happens. Carwile dives up the inside. Yes. Poe does cut the track right there. He might have gotten a slowdown. We'll have to go in and check with him what happened from his point of view.
From what it looked like, all four tires were beyond the white line of the curb.
He did hit the brakes there, though, for sure. He did not willingly, well, he did willingly give up the position, but not sure why. Let's see if we can get this from a better view. Yeah, let's see this. Right there, yep. I believe he got a slowdown penalty. That's a very tragic turn for Ryder Poe on the last lap. He's not going to be very happy with himself about that one.
Yep, especially after fending off Carwile for so long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. He's not going to be happy with himself. Let's see if we can get some drivers up here for some interviews. Hey, Ryder, what do you think happened on that last lap there? Why did you slow down on the front straight?
I'm kind of disappointed in myself there. I screwed up a bit. I got a slowdown penalty in the very last chicane, so my only goal was to really just hold him up and try to beat him to the finish line.
Yeah, we saw you slow down there. We thought that was a little interesting, and Marcus mentioned it being a slowdown penalty. So, yeah, just wanted to clear that up. How was that battle, though, up until that point? What did you think of Carwile's offense?
Carwile, he's a really good driver. Very close racing between us two. Me and him put on a show tonight, I think. Really, I was just trying to defend my life because he was a really fast driver. Also, Lincoln, He's really good. Couldn't put up with him, but I mean, we'll try again next race, and we'll set ourselves aside on this one, and we'll aim for a win. Just thanks to Eat, Sleep, Sim, Repeat, Simmersion Designs, RPR, and go check out my YouTube channel. It's Ryder Poe.
All right, thank you, Ryder. Good luck next week, and you did put on a heck of a show tonight.
Thank you.
All right, Ryder Poe there for you, coming home in P3. Yeah, so Marcus, he did get a slowdown there. What do you think of that? What do you think he was thinking after that?
If I was him, I would be 100% beating myself up after such a good race of defense against the offensive Carlisle for well over the majority of the race there, fending off lots of attacks from the outside to the inside, closing rates, and from Poe's perspective of sectors he may not have been as strong as Carlisle in, and then to get a slowdown and essentially throw it all away, even though it was not intentional, that's got to sting.
Yeah, for sure. He definitely was not very happy with himself after that. I think I would be too if I were in his position. An off track and a slowdown is not what you want on the last corner, especially if you're in that close of a battle. But yeah, we will see him next week. He's going to try and make up for that, but he still did end up getting third place. Nice podium position there. Should put him a pretty good way up in points. Anything else you want to say here, Marcus?
Was it possible we were able to get either of the winners in Pro or Am, or have they already clicked off so far?
We might be able to get, let's see, O'Toole. We might be able to get Tyler here. Yeah, it looks like he's still here. Let's see if we can get him. Hey, Tyler, you're up here in the commentator booth. What did you think? How did you get that win in the AM class? What did you do there?
Oh, I didn't do nothing, man. I was driving Sunday groceries for 75% of that race.
Yeah, did you have any fun battles in there?
I mean, the first couple of laps of the race, I had to make my way around, Dave Oken, but that was about it. I never seen nobody after that. And I was pushing after I got past Dave. I was pushing like crazy to catch up to Leonard, but then he messed up his car and Sunday grocery driving.
Yeah. Any sponsors you want to thank?
I don't have any sponsors. I'm actually brand new to sim racing, so this is my first season in the DRSCCA.
All right. Well,
first season and you got a win already.
I've had 2 or 3 wins now.
Oh, well, there we go.
yeah, hope you're enjoying it out here.
Oh yeah, I'm having a blast. The racing's great. The people are great. Cars are fun to drive. Tonight seemed like a lot of people had bad luck, so that was just how that went. But other than that, the racing's been great. You know what I mean? Lots of battles. Definitely getting seasoned already in sim racing.
Yeah, I raced last season. I had a couple photo finishes. It was pretty awesome.
Nice, man.
All right, well, thank you, Tyler O'Toole, for coming up here with us, and good luck next week.
Thank you, sir.
All right, I think we got Lincoln's already out of here, so I think we've got basically everybody.
Lincoln came, dominated, and left, huh?
Yes, he did. All right.
That's Max Verstappen style right there.
Oh, yeah. All right, well, this is Aiden Morris and Marcus Rogers from Morris Rogers TV here in the DRSCCA MX-5 Summer Cup at Lime Rock Park, and we will see you next week in the Porsche Cup at I'm not sure what track.